All right, y'all. We're back. It is JE Live. I'm Jake Ellenbogen. And joining me is Tuna from First and Tuna Podcast, which, by the way, if you haven't already, you should be subscribed to. The link is in the chat. It is pinned in the chat and is also in the description. So, Tuna, welcome to the show. Happy to have you. We've been talking for a bit. You're a fellow Metal Gear Solid fan. I see it in the back there. We're getting Delta out in next week?
Oh,
Life
man.
is good.
It's funny because I forget until I see a random IG post about it or a random reel. And then somehow we end up talking that same day. And it kind of re-sparks the reminder that it's coming. And what did I say? Is I can't believe I'm so hyped for a 20-year-old game. But I
know.
I cannot wait.
Yeah, it's the state of gaming, but man, that could be a 2-hour podcast on its own. So we're not going to go down that rabbit hole. But welcome to the show, man. Hope all is well. Obviously, it's a busy week, 2 weeks ahead. I mean, we're talking, the last preseason game. We're right around the corner here for this brand new season, highly anticipated. But before we get into it, guys, be sure to drop a like on the video. Be sure to drop a comment, subscribe to my channel, subscribe to Tuna's. Again, link is in the chat. Tuna, question for you.
Yes,
what are your thoughts on this Rams team heading into 2025?
When I think about, I'm going to paint a picture for you.
Yeah.
It's a somewhat cloudy day. It's night. It's late. It's mid-February.
Oh, I see where we're going.
Cameras are flashing. You hear some boos on the outside of the stadium. It's the Niners fans that are all pissed off that their rival was celebrating inside their stadium for a Super Bowl. And I have two pictures. I have either Matthew Stafford retiring, running off in the sunset, raising a Lombardi, or the 49ers' worst nightmare, Jimmy Garoppolo was raising a Lombardi in the middle of Levi Stadium because he had to play for Stafford. But either way, I think it's a Super Bowl year. Until we are not in the race anymore, I'm firmly planted on that.
I'm with you on that. So basically, when they acquired Matthew Stafford, I was the second they did it, I was live, and I'll never forget that moment. I'm like, oh, okay, so they're winning it all. No doubt about it. And then you see that first throw from him. It's the second play of the game, Sunday Night Football against the Bears. And it's at that moment where you've gone from, Jared Goff was kind of not the same quarterback he was in 2017, 2018. That's why Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods didn't go over 1,000 yards in 2020. And you see that big, number 9 jersey, and he's tossing, this ball way down the field to Van Jefferson, who gets up and runs in for a touchdown. You're like, this feels different. This feels special. My dad always told me, growing up, you were too young to remember, but Kurt Warner, it was the first time you saw him against the Ravens, the opening day, it was you could tell there was something different. There was a magic to it. And he's I got that same feeling when Stafford threw that ball. He's you just know, right? Since then, obviously winning the Super Bowl is great, but since then, it has not been easy. You have the next season, the injury list galore. Everybody is injured. They had 17 different offensive line combinations. And then the following year, you start this whole new thing where it's yeah, we're going to get off to a slow start in 2023 and 2024, but you showed the ability to rally back down the stretch in the second half of the season. In both seasons, fell short. I still say 2023, they could have won the Super Bowl. I kind of feel like last year they should have, because I think that defense was playing at just a whole other level. This year, I feel like the offense is back to where it was in 2021, and maybe it could be even better. And I know that sounds crazy to say. And the defense, I don't know if you saw what Albert Breer said, this is the best defensive line in the league, which is crazy, but it's really not. This defense could end up being as good as the offense, if not better. So It's a really interesting thing we got here, Tuna, because, you know, in the past, it's been like that Super Bowl season, the defense wasn't quite on the level of like what the offense was producing. And then obviously Von Miller gets going because, you know, they trade for him and he's still sitting out. He's not fully 100%. And you start to see it all kind of come together. I think they're already doing that. And I think we're going to see it in the first 4 weeks of the year.
I think that defense is going to win a lot of games this year. Not even thinking about the Stafford injury situation. I'm sure we'll get into that. But just them alone, them and the special teams. I got to give a shout out to a random Ram that no one's talking about is Ethan Evans. He had an 81-yard punt against the Cowboys 2 weeks ago. You can, between the defense and the punt team, they can really play bully ball with the field positioning to where the offense doesn't have to do a lot of heavy lifting like they've had to in past years. But back to your point with the memory of like that eye test with the quarterback, when you finally have that franchise guy. And this is the same feeling that like the Ravens fans have or like the Bengals fans have when they watch their respective quarterbacks. For me, it's a little extra special because like me in high school, I don't know how old you are, but I'm 34. And so Matthew Stafford.
Almost 30.
And Matthew, oh, you're a young buck. See, I'm Unk status, and Matthew Stafford, I think, drafted at 09, right? And that was my senior year of high school.
Yeah.
So I grew up like in my early 20s watching Matthew Stafford and really appreciating what he did for Detroit. That's been my favorite quarterback outside of like my favorite team. And then he gets the call to come over here. So immediately I'm like, oh yeah, same. That's a Super Bowl. And you feel so validated. I don't know what any other quarterback new team scenarios where fans feel validated in their feelings. Then as quickly as Matthew Stafford tossing that deep bomb, rolling left, play action to Van Jefferson and a touchdown early, you're like, oh yeah, this is clicking. This is supposed to happen. That it is not surprising what Albert Breer said about the defensive line. You just watch them in practice. So I had a chance to be at training camp. Shout out to the Rams for that. It was really nice of them. And Jared Verse doesn't shut up the whole time. Like he is as advertised. But who also keeps talking is Kobe Durant. Like I didn't realize Kobe was just as bad as him.
That's what I heard. I heard he's quite the character in a good way, but yeah.
He's got CB1 energy for sure. Like he lets you know he's out there. But there was a lot of plays where you can tell like the offense couldn't do what they wanted to do because the defensive line just makes everything messy. I'm so excited to see what this defensive line can do. They definitely better than last year. So shout out to Chris Shula being able to turn around, like especially last year, they were not doing so hot the first half of the year and then really picked up steam as the year went on. I don't know a lot of defensive coordinators that can flip the switch like that. Usually it's opposite. Start hot, flame out, like the Vikings kind of did last year. So yeah, it's gonna be a fun year.
It is going to be a fun year. It's funny. I do attribute that to, you look at the beginning of the year and I'm not putting all the blame on him. And I actually feel like he was kind of unfairly treated, but not in the way that maybe some people might think just hearing this. But like Trey White, for instance, the plan, what I found out was that he was supposed to be gradually kind of ramped up, and then he was supposed to be a starter in November. But then Darius Williams gets hurt, and it kind of changed everything. And they felt really good about Josh Wallace, and they felt really good about Charles Woods, and they felt really good about Kobe. But it just felt as though without Darius, Trey is going to have to play a decent amount of reps early on in the year. And that was around the time where, obviously, Akella Witherspoon ends up getting added to the practice squad, but he didn't have any of the off season, so he needed to get into like football shape. He was in shape, like he was in a great deal of shape, but like being in football shape is a little bit different than just being like buff and built and all that. So I feel like that, and we saw it in the Arizona game, that just became a lot, especially a young safety who just didn't look ready, didn't have the comfortability in Cameron Kinchins just being thrown in the fire there. And I think that's really where, like, it's funny because Cardinals fans will just say, we almost swept the Rams. We were a helmet away from sweeping the Rams, and it's like, yeah, but that week 2 Rams team that you faced was a hell of a lot different than the one you faced at the end of the year. And we all know Matthew Stafford wasn't 100% in that game. And obviously, I don't know if Matthew Stafford will ever be 100% in any game moving forward, but we know he was playing banged up, like badly. And we saw that down the stretch. And then, of course, sure enough, you see in the postseason, you're like, oh, he could uncork 350 yards passing in a blizzard. Yeah, he wasn't 100% in the Cardinals game. So, yeah, it is one of those things, man, where you look at last year, and I think obviously the young Bucks, they grew and everything. The thing that was so telling is that you had that first game against the Lions, and I just throw away the Arizona game entirely. You throw that tape away.
Yeah.
You know, it was just an anomaly. But that game against the Lions, when your whole offensive line, except for Kevin Dotson, who ends up leaving the stadium in a walking boot. He's the only one that finished the game out of the starters. You know, then you have the Puka Nacua injury in the second quarter. And say what you will about Troy Reed or Christian Roseboom, they're balling out, right? That was a game that showed me I wasn't crazy for believing in this Rams team post Aaron Donald. And they should have won the game, but they ran out of gas. And honestly, if the Rams get the coin toss in overtime, I think they win the game. I think it was really that simple. It's when you go into overtime, the opening game of the year, that's a lot. So I just think that was kind of our moment where it's like right early on, you get to play a team like the Lions, and they kind of told us, okay, this team's for real. And I never really looked at the Cardinals game as anything other than an anomaly. And I know they got off to a slow start, but they should have beat the Packers when Jordan Whittington was the number 1 receiver on the team that day. I mean, you think about it, they went through a lot, but I feel like this year going against the Texans, it's a healthy balance. You're not just beating up on a bad team. This is a good team. This is a team that's going to be competitive. They're well coached, and they have a quarterback that can make you pay if you give them some time. I still think, though, the Rams are the better team, and this is probably the perfect matchup because it's not easy enough where you're like, oh, I can't learn anything about them beating. Like, I don't know anything about this. But they're not tough enough where it's like I'm stressing the hell out of week 1. Like, you say you had to go up against the Philadelphia Eagles like some people wanted. I don't necessarily feel like that's what they need. I think they need to start 1-0 on the year. That's what I think.
No, yeah, I don't want the Eagles. I want a few weeks before the Eagles.
That's, exactly.
Coming off a Super Bowl win, you're getting all the hype. You're gonna come off hot. I feel like a lot of Super Bowl winners will come off hot. They eventually will trail off if they have like that hangover, Super Bowl hangover.
Yeah,
they'll trail off later in the year, but you don't want to face them hot right out the gate. They always tend to win.
No, you don't. And I think kind of looking at that game. I mean, unfortunately, I'm going to bounce this off you. I don't believe Alec Jackson will play in the first 4 games. I think he's going to be put on the PUP list. What say you on that?
It's so hard because McVay has given the same McVayisms about Stafford. It's just quarterback's more sexy, so everyone's talking about that. I am now on record saying I am more concerned about the left tackle situation than I am the quarterback situation. Not just from the injury perspective, but from what we're looking at depth-wise. If Jimmy Garoppolo had to start the first 4 games, I think the Rams can easily go 3-1. I think you face a lot of trouble against Philly. That's even with Stafford, that's a 50-50 game. Now you have a backup, even if it's the best backup in the world, that odds are not in your favor. Left tackle, though, after Alec Jackson, who is underrated, like let's be real, he's not given the same roses as some of the top 10 left tackles in the league.
Yeah.
But an extension for a reason. Like he works really well in the McVay system. When you don't have your cornerstone left tackle, like no matter what, it's a huge drop off. Like no shot at DJ Humphries. He's a vet. He's played a lot of good football. He's still not Alaric Jackson. From that reason alone, whether it's him, Quessenberry, McClendon, if they move him over from right tackle, I'm concerned about it. Only from the pass game perspective, because run game you can hide a lot, you can disguise a lot, and end of the day, just be big and just hit the guy in front of you with the run game. So I think to counter what you're saying in regards to like being a little worried the first few weeks with Alaric Jackson, I think it's not going to be as pass heavy. Maybe they'd like to start the season. See a lot more 12 personnel. I'm hoping to see a lot of 13 personnel because if you're going to have all these tight ends, get them on the field. Like, just start moving bodies then. You got 3 running backs, you got 4 tight ends. Hell, throw a 6 offensive lineman out there. To hell with it. Just start running the ball 50 times a game.
Hey, might as well. I mean, you paid Kyron, and you got 3 running backs there. I mean, 4 if Schrader makes the roster. I like him. But, kind of looking at, based on what you're talking about, I think Humphreys is going to start the first 4 games. And I want to temper people's expectations here on the Rams because I still think they're probably going to go 3-1 in the first 4. But we might not, and you're kind of alluded to this, we're not really going to see the Rams 2025 offense in all of its glory until after those 4 weeks, I believe. Unless what McVay said yesterday, and by the way, that was, and it's obviously nothing against Gary Klein or anybody who reported it, but that was a long way of really not saying anything, right? I mean, McVay, like you mentioned with McVayism, it was the whole, I'm hopeful that he could. If you say hopeful and could, I'm not getting anything from that, that headline, right?
Hey, thank God McVay is a coach and not a politician. Do you know how much everyone would hate him if he was a politician?
Hey, I mean, he'd be perfect. He'd be perfect as a politician. I say it all the time about, I don't know if you follow baseball, but I also cover the Yankees. Aaron Boone is the manager. And I always say this dude would be the perfect politician because he just says a lot of nothing. He'll talk like maybe 5 minutes, but you didn't get anything from it. Like,
That's so not to get super off topic, but I have a similarity. Not with baseball, with basketball, but you're a Rams fan and a Yankees fan. How do you go like opposite coasts? And then I have my own, like something I could share too right after.
Yeah. So I live in New York. So I was forced at gunpoint to like at least one New York team. No, I'm kidding. But no, that's my only New York team, believe it or not. I've liked the Yankees my whole life. It's really been my father, just like the Rams, because my origin story with the Rams, if you didn't know this, is Jim Youngblood was next door neighbors with my father when he was younger, and that's what got him into the Rams. So my dad lived in Irvine.
It's a great reason.
And then he ended up moving to New York, for some reason. And that's kind of, the reason. But you mentioned NBA. I'm also a Laker fan, if you can't tell with the Kobe thing in the back.
See, that's the one Laker I can get behind and support all the time.
Yeah.
R.I.P. Kobe. Because my real name is Pierce. So when I was a kid watching basketball, Paul Pierce, he was just on the TV. I fell in love with the truth. And so I am one of like 3 Rams fans I know that is also a Boston Celtics fan. So
they're going to hate me because I'm not going to hate on you for that. Paul Pierce is awesome. I'm a Kansas Jayhawk fan. So I love Paul Pierce. So like no one can, and trust me, I've had people try to get me to hate him. I'm not going to hate on him. I'm just not. So I actually love that. I'm here for that. That's a good reason. But yeah, we all like our random teams, or you're just loyal to the soil, which I'm told I'm not. So
there's a few Rams like tailgate group chats that give me shit when it's basketball season because Tuna's in here bashing the Lakers. They're like, what are you doing? I'm like, sorry, man. I gotta stay loyal to my green.
That's funny. Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. There's not. And I mean, also you have to understand, like, not everybody is gonna like every single team. Like, I typically, like, when I find there's a Yankees, Rams, Lakers fan, I'm like, all right, that'll do. Like, there's an extra special thing there. And if I ever find one that's a Jayhawks fan with all of those, then I'm like, all right, that's a little weird. Like now we're really talking. And then don't even get me started with hockey. I like 2 teams. So if you like the same 2 hockey teams that I like, the Jayhawks, the Lakers, the Rams, and the Yankees, well, now you're just copying me. I mean, come on now.
I feel like at that point you've found your stalker, and now, congratulations, you now have police.
Yeah, exactly.
Have fun.
Yeah, Alex says can't be worse than Niner Dodger fans.
I hear that so much. So I moved to Los Angeles a year ago, and
Oh,
I
nice.
have seen that a bit. It's really weird. Seeing someone with a Niners jersey and a Dodgers hat. Like they try to hide it with like a black Dodgers hat. It's like, dude, it looks so.
Oh man. So
It's
I
odd.
gotta ask you because I've never asked anybody. So what's the point of the upside down LA? Because I've actually seen people wearing that a lot lately.
Oh yeah, I have that too. I don't know who started it. It literally is just a brand. There was a brand that
Oh,
started
gotcha.
it just to stand out and be different. And now I think it's kind of taken off. It's just fashion. Um,
Okay.
if there's anything deeper than that, like I did have an older woman stop and ask me like, what was the point of that? And when I told her that, like this is just at Ralph's.
I'm an older woman now.
No, because she took it a step further. She's like, oh, I thought it was like some like demonic stuff. I thought it was a weird thing. I was like, oh, that's nice, and then walked away. I was like, okay, buying eggs, but whatever.
It's not a pentagram.
No, it's I like it just because it's a little bit different. LA tries to be fashionable. I think that's pretty much it.
That's true. That is true. So, we got off topic a little bit, but I love it.
My bad.
No. I mean, really, did we get off topic? That's kind of always been the embodiment of JE Live. I mean, mind you, this has become a full-on Rams channel, but within the last 2 years, I've done a lot of restructuring because I've done gaming on here. Like I played a whole Resident Evil playthrough of like on this channel.
Damn.
So yeah, it's been. I had a horror podcast at one point. Like, dude, this channel has seen it all, and the people that stuck by, appreciate y'all. But let's talk about the roster, and mainly, I was actually really excited to ask you about this.
Mm-hmm.
Because you don't just follow the Rams, you follow the league. Like you're a football fan, which I love talking football fans. In this roster, right? Do you feel like this is set where I think now it's an 89-man roster because they didn't replace Mario?
Yeah.
Do you feel like the 89 players that are on this roster will make up in some capacity the 53? Or do you think there's somebody that they will or you would want them to go after on cut day waivers or even like a trade like they've done in the past with like a Kevin Dotson? Is there anybody that stands out to you in regards to that?
It's hard for me to it's more of a position group. I think if there is going to be a move that's made in addition, a la 2021 when they added pieces just to reassure like, hey, we are a playoff team. Let's cover all our bases, which thank God they did. Because when Woods goes down, what do you do after that? Like, how much are you relying on a Ben Skoranek the second half of the year? No shot at Super Bowl champion Ben Skoranek, but
Hey, I get it.
he's not OBJ. Very different skill set. The only things that come to mind are for the future, not so much for 2025. But I look at, I have this notion in my head that I can't wait to see a McVay offense with some sort of mobile quarterback. Now, I don't want him to overhaul the offense and do nothing but RPOs, but you look at, and this is completely out of left field, but Anthony Richardson, like I'm a believer. I think that he's been locked into a franchise that doesn't have the strongest foundation around him for someone like him. You have Cam Newton's ability in such a young mind that you need to, like, you kind of got to handhold him all the way through. And I don't think the Colts have provided that. So if we look ahead, I don't think he's going to cost a first rounder. If you want to add some competition post Matthew Stafford, like, you can go get an Anthony Richardson at some point later this year when his draft stock has gone down a little bit. Add him to the competition with Stetson Bennett maybe down the road. DB is another one that crosses my mind, but I don't think they need to. I know your boy Witherspoon should be starting this year. Shout out to him, but that room is going to rotate on a week by week basis. I know we always talk about running back by committee. I do think there's going to be a DB by committee. You're constantly seeing guys rotate in it at the ones. They're going to rotate that starting group based on the actual matchup. I can't think of anyone off the top of my head they would trade for. Like, I feel like they like their team. Like, they're comfortable with who they have.
Yeah, it's tough because, in the past they haven't had, like, I've been saying pretty much all off season, this is the best roster that McVay's ever worked with. And yeah, do they have a Jalen Ramsey? No. Do they have a Bobby Wagner, Andrew Whitworth? No. But roster construction, this is a masterpiece in my opinion. I think they have depth on depth. And we've seen that, in preseason, how deep this team is. I just feel like, based on the Kier Thomas to IR deal, right? Mm-hmm. And he can return this season because of the new rules. But I don't feel as comfortable, like, if you're going to keep 5, I'm not a big Nick Hampton guy. I don't hate him or anything like that, but I think that would be a spot to upgrade. I think they're a little weak at outside linebacker with Kier Thomas going down. I like Brenton Jackson a lot. Nick Hampton is probably somebody I would keep on the practice squad. So I'm not saying, like, go away, I don't want you anywhere near me. Yeah. Like, that's like that. But I look at a guy like David Ajabo. Like, if he ends up getting cut by the Ravens, that's somebody I would bring in, or like an Anthony Jennings from the New England Patriots. I think I would be open, despite the fact that I feel like this roster is really well built. I think I'd be open to adding one more outside linebacker. And they don't have to be like a starter, but I would just like some more depth in that room. And also, I mean, Brenton Jackson, as much as I like him, he has hardly any experience, so I'd like to see them add at least another guy. And maybe they'll keep Jamil Muhammad. I mean, he's looked good in limited reps. But that's kind of where I'm at on that. I'm just curious if you have anybody in mind, when I say off outside linebacker, if you have anybody in mind that makes sense, in that regard.
Yeah, I'm looking. Anthony Jennings could make sense because it's a fine balance because you obviously don't want to bring in somebody who has the assumption that, hey, you're starting because now you're dealing with Jared Verse and Byron Young.
Exactly.
But it's also a fine line because you want somebody who could potentially start because Byron Young's on a contract year. Do you bring him back? Do you sign him to a massive contract? You got to sign a lot of guys this year. Quentin Lake, Kobe Turner, Steve Avila. Like, is Byron Young also going to get the bag? Does he take a team-friendly deal? So who else is on the trade block right now? I'm kind of drawing a blank.
Well, today it just came out that Kyle Duggar's on the trade block. I just don't think the Rams would go after a safety. As much as I like the player, because I do.
Yeah.
I think, yeah. So
let's see.
That's and I don't know for sure, by the way, if Ojabo is going to be available, but he's one of those guys that I've been looking at. And then also Foskey from the Saints, if he gets cut. I think that there's definitely some guys that you could look at and be like, yeah, if we add one or two, not two. I think, honestly, their offensive line is set because when Allard comes back, they're going to be really filled. I absolutely love Willie Lampkin IV. I like that they're stashing him. Diedick has had a great preseason, right? KT Leveston. Yes, Leveston. I'm going to keep bringing this up because I got so much crap for saying Leviston. And that's what I was told it was. So then I found out, no, it's actually Leveston. So I've been saying it wrong for a whole year. Awesome. But Leveston's been really good. I'm high on DJ Humphries as just like a replacement guy for 4 games. Questenberry has looked really good. As you had mentioned, he could slide over from right tackle to left tackle. They have a lot there on the offensive line. It's not like years past where it's like you need to go out and get a Kevin Dotson, So, yeah, wide receiver. Oh, how many wide receivers do you have them keeping? I only have them keeping 5. I actually have Konate Mumfield currently missing the roster.
Ooh.
It's tough, though.
Is that just numbers-wise because of other positions, you feel?
Yeah. Because
that's fair.
I have them keeping 10 DBs. So.
Whew.
Yeah.
That's the hard part. I'm a little different. I have them keeping, I think, 7 DBs.
Oh, damn.
But that's not my final 53-man prediction because I need to go back and look at the numbers. And also, how many times can you elevate and demote someone onto the practice squad?
Yeah.
That's a key thing, too, because they're going to play ring around the rosy with DBs, I feel like. So I think that kind of plays into it. I am a little biased because I got hyped up on Konate from Eric Yarber. So when I spoke to him, I have a piece coming out on him next week.
That's awesome.
With him. But off the record, he like would not stop smiling when I asked about Konate. So I was like, hey, I'm about to go interview your boy Konate. Like, what else am I missing from, like, you could read stuff online, but you're behind the scenes with him. What do I need to know about this guy? Lit up, smiles, says people don't understand how smart he is. His football IQ. And it's showing early because his progression from OTAs through what we're seeing in preseason right now, he's going to be really good. They love Konate. I just don't know. Like, you make a good point. Do they need wide receiver 6 right now? Like, even for special teams, you got to think of Britton Covey as well. Like, do they keep him on board? Or do they really love Xavier Smith, lock into that position right away?
I'm hearing X Smith is a lock almost at this point.
Oh yeah, he has to be.
Yeah, he's really good.
He has become a more well-rounded receiver this year. Like, this is a leap year for him, and I'm really proud of him. Between him and Konate, like, compared to last year when you were missing Puka and Cup, and you got Whittington and X out there. If you have Whittington, Xavier, and Konate, that's a stronger group having to play this year than what they had last year. Like, and because of those factors, like, I think they keep 6. I really hope they do. Just for depth, like, I really feel that strong about it.
Yeah, it's interesting because I feel like back in the day, like, COVID really changed a lot. Small school guys don't get invited to combines anymore on the level they used to. Teams typically draft Power 4 now. And in addition to that, another thing that changed is you're more likely to bring back your guys and keep them in the building. We still get, cut day claims. It's not to say that doesn't happen, but it felt like it happened way more back in the day. Like, where you'd have a team that would claim 8 guys. Like, one team would claim 8 other dudes because they'd be like, yeah, actually, we spent a whole summer with these 90 dudes, and turns out we didn't like 50 of them. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, what? So,
especially from struggling franchises.
Yes. But remember, that was commonplace. You used to see that, like, where teams would be like, yeah, we kind of just don't like anybody that was in our camp for the last 3 months. Like, oh, okay. That's good to know.
It's like, what have you been doing this whole time?
Yeah. Like, I was, in 2022, I covered the Jets, and I remember, and they didn't do that. They lost 7 of their defensive guys. And you knew it because you could tell if their offense never got there, they were about to waste, and it never got there. Their offense never got there. They were about to waste a huge defense. Like, this defense had so much depth. Like, Robert Saleh was building something, and they just lost tons of guys. And, like, I remember Jason Pinnock is a guy that they really wanted to keep, and they kind of just talked themselves into cutting him because they're like, yeah, like, he'll make it through. Nope, Giants claimed him. And they're like, oh, my God, the crosstown rival? Really? Like, they were not happy about that. So, yeah, you've seen it, and obviously teams still do it, but I feel like I am kind of getting that vibe, though, Tuna, about this Rams team, and that they're almost making too much noise in the preseason. And from what I've heard, is that there's a feeling that everybody in this DB room can play in the NFL. And what I mean by that is not be on a practice squad. Like, all of them could be on a 53. Lampkin, right? You got Wallace. I think Wallace is a near lock to make this team because he can play safety. He can be in the star role. Like, he's got a lot of versatility there.
I was going to ask you about the DBs, so this is a good transition.
Yeah. Charles Woods is another guy. Like, I'd love to add him to the practice squad. I don't know if he'll make it. I could see him getting claimed. He can play on a 53. He was on the Rams 53 to start the year last year. Then you look at Darian Kendrick. To me, it'd be nice to be able to continue to work with him. He's still coming back from his injury. He's getting better. I thought he was a lot better in game 2. That said, I have them keeping AJ Green, and I think Darian Kendrick's going to get cut, and I feel like they're going to lose Darian Kendrick to another team. I think somebody's going to pick him up.
Yeah, we talked about that this morning because I noticed DK played a lot in
week
two. which was surprising because to me, from what I saw in training camp, it's like he's rolling with the ones on occasions. It's like, yeah, like that's your guy. You brought him back. He's here multiple years. He's familiar with it. And out of all the guys past the first four, he obviously has the most experience. Like you want someone with experience in your system. But now I don't know. Like, is he playing just to get his legs back under him because he has not played since end of 2023? Like he got hurt training camp last year. So he needs live action to get back acclimated. Outside those first four, Woods makes sense because he can play that star role. Wallace does some good things. I think Jolly, if anything, will be practice squad. I had AJ Green practice squad too. What makes it messy is because they have a different category for the nickel, like that star role, not just corner, which is now Lake and McCullough. I will say one thing about McCullough. I don't have evidence for it, but I think he's going to have a big year, bigger than people think.
Oh, I do too.
Working at safety and star because the jersey number switched to number 2. Looks phenomenal on him. And randomly, when I was at SoFi on Saturday, he was one of the players on the Infinity board doing the like, hey, get louder, which is usually only stars they put up there. I'm like, that's weird. McCullough's up there. That's cool. Okay.
That is cool. No, and they're calling him Tank now. So,
are they?
Yeah, they keep calling him Tank McCullough. I'm like, all right, that's a sign. This dude's locked in. They're calling him Tank. Yeah, that's check that box, right?
I want him to do well, but not too well because I'm a big Quentin guy. So I'm like, hey, Quentin needs to make a Pro Bowl. Let's ease up, easy.
Hey, I hear you, man. It's so funny. You know, there are 2 guys that I interviewed on Downtown Rams with Alexis, and I immediately was like, the Rams are going to be all over this guy. And they drafted both of them, Quentin Lake and Brennan Jackson. When we interviewed Quentin Lake, you know, coming out of UCLA, I was like, this dude just sounds like they're going to get him in a room or they're going to get him on Zoom or whatever, and he's just going to wow them because he's so smart. He's so articulate, and he knows, you know, he just knows. Like, he has the right mentality. You talk to him, and you've talked to him. So it's just one of those things. And then we got him back after the draft, and it's just like, he's the same dude. He's the same dude before he was drafted. He's the same dude after he was drafted. And yeah, I'm really excited for him. I'd love to keep him. It's going to be tough, man, because you got him, you got Cam Curl. You're going to have to, you know, carve out some room for Verse. And this is where I'm not going to go on a long tangent here, but I feel like the NFL can do a better job where you're not penalizing a team that's just good at drafting. Because that's what I feel like the Rams are about to be penalized hardcore based on the fact there's no soft cap, right? Like there's no soft cap like there is in the NBA. And I feel like there should be something like bird rights or something where you have an opportunity to offer whatever, and like you get like, you can go over the cap if you're signing your own guys. That's just kind of how I feel, because
like a different bucket for
I don't like compensatory picks. And the reason why, actually, I just tweeted about this yesterday.
I saw the Mayfield comparison that you made.
Yeah, what the hell, man? So you're telling me the Vikings, who never had Daniel Jones play in a game, ever, right? They can get a 4th round compensatory pick if he does well with the Colts. But the Rams got a 6th for Baker Mayfield, who's now a franchise quarterback. And the Rams got a 5th for Von Miller, who was one of the highest paid players in that free agency market. It's just silly to me. I feel like they just totally botched it. And that's why I like, people get all excited about compensatory picks. I'm like, the only compensatory picks that I get excited about, and I don't even get excited because I'm losing the coach, are the minority hire picks.
Coaches.
That's it. Those are the only ones I'm like, oh, awesome, a 3rd round pick. Because, you know, you lose a guy and all of a sudden it's like, yeah, you know, back in the day that could have been a 3rd round pick, but now that's a 6th rounder. And you're like,
Aubrey Pleasant leaving, that better be a 2nd round pick for the Rams. That's
I know.
Low. Like, he is, I do believe the only reason he didn't leave out the door this year was combination of just wanting to finish the job, get a Super Bowl ring this year, and also maybe just wasn't the spot that he really felt comfortable. But he'll be a top candidate somewhere after this season.
Yeah, I think, it was really cool that he got an opportunity to actually like coach, right? And be the, the head coach of this team. Because technically it's not helping McVay's case to keep him, but it shows you the culture. It shows you that it is a we, not me thing. Because if it was a me, not we, then Sean McVay would never have that. And who else is doing that in the league? Like,
no one.
Nate Scheelhaas.
Everyone wants to be here.
Yeah.
Not to cut you off, but I had to ask a few reporters out there. I was like, hey, have you been to other training camps? Because the first thing I noticed is it was a fun atmosphere out there, but it just felt like everyone from the top down, from like QB1 at the time is Jimmy G, all the way down to the last lineman trying to make, who's the 90th spot. Everyone like wants to be there. Like no one's dragging ass. No one is screwing up. It's a different culture here. And I think that adds to why it's so hard to look at this depth chart and see who's going to get cut. Because a lot of these guys deserve spots. They can all play in the league. Yeah, it's just so hard. But to your point, yeah, McVay's culture is one of one.
It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. I love this. McVay has a coaching forest, not tree. And then we have, did I not tell you? Did I not tell you? I literally. It's like a running joke now.
So how was it actually pronounced?
It's Leveston.
Leveston.
But I was saying Leviston because I obsess over getting these pronunciations correct. And so I found somewhere, I forget where it was, but it was pronounced Leviston, right? Not like Leviathan or whatever with the TH, but yeah, and apparently it's Leveston this whole time. Leveston. I feel like such an idiot.
In about 3 days, I'm going to see his name and I'm going to forget which one you said was right. And I'm going to get it screwed up. I already know.
Hey, it happens, man. And he's going to make the roster. Now we know he's going to make the roster. So if anybody's worried about him making the roster, well, now we know, because he is going to be a mouthful to pronounce. That's just the reality of it. But yeah, we kind of hit a little bit on Keir Thomas going to the IR. Yep. Mario Williams was waived injured. Basically, to let y'all know, he can return this season, Keir Thomas. Mario Williams being waived injured. If he clears waivers, which I can't imagine any team would, just claim him like that. Although it has happened before. I don't know if you remember. The Stanford running back, Tyler Gaffney, back in the day.
What a name. Oh my God.
He was cut by the Carolina Panthers with like a 5th-round pick. And Bill Belichick waived injured. Bill Belichick's like, nope. And they put him on their IR. So it can happen.
He's shown some good stuff in preseason play. I don't know. It's not like he was dominant. That was kind of taken over by, Kanate and Xavier. Showed some good things. I think that big touchdown he had definitely helped his case. And can I say what a seed that Stetson Bennett threw? That was there was no air on that ball.
That was impressive. That thing was a rope. And I had Emery I can't even talk. I had Emery Hunt on here, and basically he was saying, he's like, people look at Stetson Bennett at 5'11", and they just assume he doesn't have an arm. I mean, this guy can whip it, and I see that. I actually see that. I feel like there are a lot of people that just kind of assume, I always talk about Emery Hunt because he's the one that really got me into scouting. And he also has these things that I always think of, there's no backups, starters in waiting. Another one that I love, size is not a skill. And it's so true, because you look at Bennett and you're like, man, there are guys that are 6'6" that couldn't hit the broadside of a barn in preseason. Ben's 5'11", just throwing darts. And I see a lot of Baker in him. That's what I see. And I'm not sure he's ever going to get to that level, but just the way he plays. And Kello's dad said that he throws like Joe Montana. Now he's not calling him Joe Montana, but he said he's got that kind of arm, action as Joe Montana. So I thought that was kind of cool. But yeah, he's definitely going to make the roster. It's funny. I saw the other day on Twitter, people were like, I don't know. It's like, what do you mean you don't know? Like, he's clearly going to make the 53. They're going to keep him.
At the very least of the emergency quarterback. Like, he's on the team.
It would be stupid not to keep him.
Let me ask you a question. Do you think anyone's knocking on the door to go trade for Bennett, seeing what they see?
No. And the reason why is I think they see what he's doing with the Rams and they're like, okay, he's in his ecosystem and everything. It took him a bit to get here. He's also older. And I think teams are going to think twice after seeing what Joe Milton is doing with the Cowboys. I think they really are going to think twice about just trading for that kind of high upside guy. Because I think the Patriots totally burned the Cowboys and they're a better team because of it. Like, they got a higher draft pick than where they drafted Joe Milton, and they have Drake May and they have Josh Dobbs. And it's like, they don't feel like they're in a position where it's like, oh crap, we trade away Joe Milton. You know what I mean? So yeah, I could see more of that happening across the league, but I could also see that it being a little bit of a pullback where now it's like, I don't know, the last time we saw a quarterback trade, it was this guy, and that's not going too well. So,
okay. So I do feel the same. Like, Bennett this is his system. Every quarterback is a system quarterback. I don't care what anybody says. Because you can't just show up and be like, what are you going to not work in your system? Like, it doesn't make sense. The Joe Milton thing, that kind of makes me upset that he went to Dallas, because overall that whole team is just it's
awful.
I'll draft Pickens in fantasy because I think Dak will throw for 4,500 yards because he's just that good. But overall, that team is going to struggle this year. It did not look very organized at the joint practice. It was very
I heard amateur hour. That's what it sounded like. So
it wasn't good. And I do have to drop that Joe Milton line I heard before of, if you need 80 yards, Joe Milton will throw at 80 yards. If you need 8 yards, Joe Milton will throw at 80 yards.
Yeah.
It's just that cannon.
Yeah, I feel bad for Cowboys fans. They deserve better, but I don't think it's going to be a good year for them. The Saints, I don't think it's going to be good. I heard some things about that joint practice as well. I saw obviously some of it, but they kept going after 4, man. They kept going after 4. I don't know what they were thinking. Tyler Shuck is just I have no idea what goes through that dude's mind. I don't like his decision making in the slightest. But I've heard, don't read too much into the Saints. They don't even know what they're doing because all their mind is on is the hope that Arch Manning comes out. I'm like, yeah, that checks out.
Them and the Colts, I'm sure. I don't know what the Colts are doing, man. I
think they'll be decent.
But ever since Andrew Luck, they've just gone through this ringer of veteran quarterbacks where they just can't decide what they want to be.
That's so true.
When you don't know what you're going to be, the league is going to decide that for you. And if the league decides for you, it's always never a positive thing. The league doesn't hand you wins. Other teams aren't going to help you out. If you don't decide your identity, like, the league figures you out real fast. It's going to be another 6 or 7 win season for them, and they're going to be hoping for another quarterback. I really do think that for an Indy. You don't think so?
No, I'm actually in agreement with you. I don't really understand what that. Yeah, I don't get their process. I think they win 8 or 9 games, but I don't. How do you take the next step when you're constantly, to your point, cycling in and out of quarterbacks? But I also like, and it sucks because I like him to a degree, but it's like with the Dolphins too, with Tua. Like I don't know how to feel about the Dolphins. There are a lot of teams in the league that just kind of, they go into the season just existing. And, I heard the whole, every fan believes their team's going to win the Super Bowl until the season starts. That's not true. There's no way anybody, truthfully, in Miami thinks they're going to win the Super Bowl. No way.
Maybe. There's a lot of delusional fans out there. I like McDaniel. I really do.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. This is going to be a critical year for him. I think
Yeah.
it's justified if let's say he gets fired for whatever reason. I think it's justified. I don't think that makes him a bad potential coach. I think he's a brilliant OC. Maybe he gets another chance at head coaching somewhere else in a different situation. But sometimes, like, the match isn't made in heaven. He's got a lot of big personalities there that maybe don't blend perfectly well with how he coaches. Like Tyreek Hill is on his Antonio Brown like trajectory. He's just he don't put him near a mic. Like, he just keeps saying stuff. It's like, stop, man.
Yeah, I think really in the AFC, I just keep going back to the Bills playing the Rams in the Super Bowl. And I mean, it's funny. It's actually an opportunity there for New England to kind of shock some people because I'm not high on the Dolphins. I'm not really that high on the Jets.
Mm-mm.
So, I mean, I like Justin Fields. I hope it works out. I didn't like the firing of Saleh. I'm not saying Saleh was this, fantastic coach or anything, but I just felt like they were building a special defense, and then eventually at some point they could bring in some offensive mind and figure it out on the offensive side and be a good team. But I mean, I was like, I've seen this movie before. This is the 2020 Rams. They got a nasty defense and they have an issue at quarterback. And it's like, until they fix that, so I like Justin Fields. I don't know if they totally fix that. And I don't feel like their defense is as good as it was last year, but who knows, right? I do think New England could surprise people. And I think there are teams around the league. Like I said last year, the Commanders are this really fascinating team that with Dan Quinn, I think this is a team that could be the sleeper team in the NFC. And then my sleeper team in the AFC kind of, ruined that because I had the Titans. I just liked them, man. I don't know.
I can see them sneaking into a wild card spot. It's just, that's a lot to ask for a rookie quarterback. I don't.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't think of his name. Daniels taking him to the NFC Championship last year. Back to your original point where the Rams should be in the Super Bowl. Like,
absolutely.
If they get past Philly, like Commanders coming to SoFi, they're not making it out of SoFi with the win. It's just.
I think they would have punched the Chiefs in the mouth. Truthfully.
Showing the goose egg they landed, yeah, like that. Don't get me started.
I know this is why there needs to be some sort of redemption, but it does feel like the energy around the Rams right now is like this infectious. Everyone wants to be there. Everyone's rooting for everyone, and they feel like they have an unfinished business. And it's so funny because that rains down on the new players. And like you can even see it like with Devontae Adams. It's almost like he's taken up this mantle of like, I need to step up. I need to get us to where we need to go. And it's like he wasn't even on the team last year and he can kind of feel it a little bit. And I feel like that's how it goes because every team's different. You're gonna have guys that leave, you're gonna have guys that, join the team. But I felt like, last year, there was a lot of unfinished business. And I know like You talk to I talked to Bobby Brown and I talked to Cam Curl and these are guys that you can tell they're not over that loss. They're just not. And it's not one of those things like they'll be talking about for 20 years like, oh, this is unfair. It's not an unfair thing. It's just that they feel like it didn't end the way it was supposed to end. And I think that was really kind of the consensus around the Rams is that McVay just kind of assumed it was going to be 20, I forget what the score was, 29, 28, whatever. I forget. It was a weird score, but basically he just assumed there was no other way that this was going to end except like winning the game. And I agree. I mean, when Puka caught that, like, I think that's the thing that bothers me the most, Tuna, with Eagles fans is that now they get to act like, oh, I was never worried. Never. At no point.
They shot themselves a little bit. I could tell you firsthand.
Yeah.
I was at Legends in Long Beach. So apparently this is like everyone knows. I'm new here. So I was like, oh yeah, what's that sports bar in Long Beach? Legends is a phenomenal place. 2 stories inside.
Nice.
That place was packed with Philly fans.
Oh man.
There was like maybe 20% Rams fans. Everyone else was Eagles fans. Like they showed out. When Puka caught that ball, it got real fucking quiet in there. And there's like, obviously the minority were like even we're not cheering. We're just like, this is happening. Like everything at halftime, we're like, Stafford's going to win the game. And right there when that happened, it's like, this is happening. We're watching it live. And then it didn't. But yeah, when you have Glock 9 back there, you feel like you can win every single game.
So true. No lead is too big and this, that, and the other thing. No, I agree. And I feel for Bo Limmer because I actually agree with going with Coleman Shelton. I think he makes sense. They have a lot of experience with him. They've worked with him, familiarity. He has a lot of familiarity with Stafford. Yeah. I get that. What I don't like is how quickly we've gone from, wow, this Bo Limmer kid, he started 15 games, 6th, 7th round pick, what have you, and he looks really good and he's the future. And now we're like, oh yeah, he's trash. Like let's just cut him at the, there are people that are saying he should be cut. And it's just like, man, I know he missed a block and I don't even know what happened. I mean, there are a lot of different things that go on. I know they blame him, but he had a really good year last year. And I don't want to see, one play define this guy the rest of his career because, and that's kind of, I mean, Bo Limmer's going through that. Kyron Williams is also going through it as well with the fumble. So,
Fair.
I think obviously this is a huge year and you and I both have high expectations. If they take care of business, people won't talk about the Eagles game anymore. They won't talk about Kyron Williams fumbling if he doesn't fumble. And I think Bo Limmer will be able to continue his career without kind of that thing, the dark cloud just kind of hovering over his head.
It's a little bit unfair because like I kind of commented, he absolutely saved a 2024 season.
Yeah.
Everyone forgets about the whole Jonah Jackson, the whole ordeal with Jonah Jackson. And then like 2 weeks before the season started, like right now, we got the update. Oh, yeah, Steve Avila is now taking snaps at center. We're going to try it out. That whole everything was swapping the first few weeks of the season.
Yeah.
If there was no Bo Limmer, there's a huge hole in the middle. It doesn't matter how good Avila and Dotson are. Like the center is just not working. He saved it. They get back on track. I was confused by the Shelton signing. I thought it was just, hey, Limmer showed enough. Let's give him a full offseason. This is our guy. He's big. He can do it. Not to say Shelton's bad, but I would not be surprised if the second there's any issues at center, call Limmer. Like I will be calling for Limmer because he's earned the spot. He can do it. And regarding that Eagles game, like okay, he missed the block, but did he block well the 99% of the rest of the game? Like are they in a position to win because of that? It's like the kicker thing. You miss a game-winning field goal and everyone hates you, but not the fact you were 4 for 5 on the day and the only reason it's on the board.
So true. That is the most thankless job. I couldn't even imagine. But so we're getting to the end here. To wrap this up, I want you to give me a sleeper that you think is going to make the 53 and a surprise cut that a lot of people aren't talking about that you think could potentially not make the 53.
Oh, man. A sleeper, I think, because a lot of people were enamored by the end of the Chargers game with Presley, with True Edwards. I think a surprise for some people because they seem to have forgotten about him for some reason. Konate. Like, I think Konate makes the roster. I think they're extremely high on him. Not to say he gets a lot of snaps at all, but they like the comfortability they have that if they throw him on the field, he can get open and he will catch the ball. He'll be in the right position, which is half the battle with McVay's offense.
Yeah.
A surprise cut. I think he's put enough tape out there to win the spot. And I think they make a surprise and they say, I'm sorry, Troy Reeder. We're going to need you either on the practice squad or it's time to go because rookies have surpassed you. I hope that's just what I think based on energy. So hopefully that happens. We'll see.
Yeah, I tend to agree with you on that because I do feel like Troy Reeder, the plan was always in place. He's barely getting paid more. I think he's getting paid less than Tony Fields last time I checked. So I feel like the plan in the offseason, they flat out told him, you're not making this roster initially. We're going to put you on the practice squad. They did it with Akello last year. We're going to activate you the first 3 games. If, things work out, you'll be on the 53. But we're not guaranteeing a roster spot when we sign you to this veteran minimum, right? We just want you back in the building. And so that was going to be my surprise cut because I think people now feel like he's guaranteed to make this roster. My sleeper is definitely going to be AJ Green. And the reason being is the things that I hear about AJ Green, I heard last year, if anything. Mm-hmm. This is a guy that they've been really excited to work with. They stashed him on the practice squad last year. And, I was hearing, watch out for this kid. Like, he has a chance next year to actually make the roster. And you see immediately 27's getting picked on by Justin Herbert, and he's holding his own. The thing about Green is that he adds size to a room that doesn't have it. Emmanuel Forbes is taller than a Darius Williams and Kobe Durant, but he doesn't have like the thickness, right? So he's a lock. He's not, but like AJ Green and Akello Witherspoon are kind of built, from they're cut from the same cloth in a way. They're physical. They're bigger corners. Mm-hmm. I really do believe AJ Green is going to make this team, and I also think Josh Wallace is going to make this team. So I think the job AJ Green has done, not just in preseason, but also the joint practices, I really think this is a guy that they're going to keep. And also keep this in mind, and a lot of people didn't notice this, AJ Green came back in the game, and people are like, oh, like, yeah, he's not being protected. Like, his roster spot's up in the air. No. They put AJ Green and Josh Wallace back in the game because they wanted to win the game. That's why.
That's fair.
So they were not in like the whole third, the whole second. I think they played most of the first. But anyway, point being, he was a part of that roster. He was a part of the defense that went up against the first team offense, not including Rashawn Slater for obvious reasons, against the Chargers.
Yeah,
I saw some really good things from him. He can stick in the hip pocket. He's got really good timing. He had 3 pass breakups, tied for the most among all corners in preseason. I think they're going to like that length, and I think he diversifies that cornerback room enough where if that's kind of the decision, you have Forbes, you have Williams, you have Durant, you have Witherspoon. If you're only keeping 5 corners because they've been using Josh Wallace as the star or just straight up as a safety, then I think Green is the guy that they're going to go with. They have Kendrick, Woods, Jolly, and Lampkin. I kind of was seeing like, oh yeah, they could keep Lampkin. I could see Lampkin back on the practice squad. Sean Jolly's been with this team for 10 years, I'm convinced, so he'll be able to stay in the building.
He has partial ownership.
Yeah, exactly. But I think they run the risk of losing Kendrick and Woods, and that's a bummer. But I think as far as like preseason and joint practice, AJ Green has had the best among all of the bubble corners that I would say.
And it's so hard to just I don't think your point is crazy at all. Anybody past like the corner 5, 6, 7, 8 on this team, I think they would give a run on anyone else's team at like corner 3 and 4. Like that's how good the depth is. So it makes sense. We're nitpicking. They could pick any one of these guys, and it would be like, oh, okay, that makes sense. I see where they're coming from. I like your point about his length. The thing about Forbes, not to make this extra longer, but even though he is slender, he's kind of like Mr. Fantastic. I know that movie just came out. But he is.
No, you're right.
He's long. He has the capability to get PBUs and get in the way without drawing penalties because he is so like long. Just crazy good around the ball. Like this whole unit's going to be better than people think. I'm not happy with some of the nationwide media talking about the DB room, to be honest.
You and me both, brother. I've been saying it for a while. I think this DB room is a lot bigger, a lot better than giving credit for. And we're gonna see it this year, and we'll be the ones laughing, while everyone else is like, "Oh my god, I can't believe this." Seahawks fans constantly telling us, they have the best DB room. I mean, we'll see, but I'm telling you, I'm really excited to see Kello with a full off season under his belt with this team. The last time he did that, PFF graded him in the top 15 of corners on the Steelers. And I don't think people realize just how, like, you talk about how important Bo Limmer was last year, filling that hole. Imagine being a Kello Witherspoon filling the giant shoes of Jalen Ramsey. He had to do that, and it did it instantly. And is he the same? No, he's not the same corner. He plays a different style. And there are people that accuse him of not trying because he's so casual. He's actually insane when you think about it because he doesn't look like a normal corner. It's why the Seahawks traded him. Pete Carroll wanted a rah, like, yeah. And, I mean, I think he's just under 6'4". But
I saw him in person for the first time at camp. I was like, God damn.
Yeah. And he got a lot bigger this year too. Like, as far as like working out and everything, like he put on a lot of muscle. So I'm very excited to see what he can do. Yeah. And I'm excited for Forbes because I've heard, he's maybe the most talented corner in that room. So, and that was my guy in the draft. So when he went in the 13th overall,
look at you feeling validated.
Yeah, he went 13th overall, and I was like, I wanted him to fall. I knew he wasn't going to, but when they cut him, even before they cut him, right around the trade deadline, I made a video and was like, yeah, they need to go and try and trade for this guy. Then they got him for free, so I'll take that all day. But no, it's a really good DB room, and I think the safeties. I don't think people realize like. This is probably one of the more deeper safety rooms the Rams have ever had. Speaking of Washington, Cam Curl, when he is healthy, when he's, at his best, he's one of the best run supportive safeties in football. Mm-hmm. And I don't know how the hell they got him for the price they did, because I remember PFF did a whole thing on like projected contracts. They're like, yeah, Cam Curl, $15 million a year.
It's not a lot. It's not a lot.
That's a ton.
It is, but for his value though, and what he brings to that back end of the secondary, it doesn't feel like a lot. It feels like he's never spoken about.
No, but the Rams got him for half of that. They were saying he would have been $15 million, like one of the highest paid safeties, and the Rams got him for like cheap, and I'll never understand it.
I don't know. I think the only person that's willing to take a pay cut on this defense for an extension would probably be Lake. I could see Lake doing a not a max deal, whatever the maximum is, what he could do. But he had top 5 numbers last year, and no one's talking about him amongst other safeties. So we'll see.
Yeah, he's a really good player, and when you have that, capability to play in that star role, it allows the Rams to kind of do whatever they want. Do they want to keep another corner? If they only want to keep 4, they can, because Lake has the capability and so does McCullough, right? So it's going to be fun to watch. I'm really excited to watch actual regular season football. I'm preseasoned out, to be honest with you. The first 2 games, absolutely had a blast watching. That third game, I typically do not like watching. I don't know. It just, especially on the road, there's something about watching it at SoFi on TV and then going to like Cleveland. I don't know. Maybe it's just me.
I'm hoping to see a little bit of Shador if he plays. I don't know. God knows what Cleveland's doing at the quarterback position. Like, is Deshaun Watson like alive? Is he ever going to play again? Are they rostering 6 quarterbacks heading into the season?
I know they're a masterclass on how not to build a roster.
I don't know what Stefanski has on that organization, but like they just need a clean house. I don't know what the hell they're doing there. Yeah, I'm ready for the season. Are you making it to LA for any games?
Yeah, so I'll be at the 49ers game at SoFi.
Okay.
And then I'll be with the round table. So we're doing a whole event. And then I'll be going to the Rams-Niners game in San Francisco. And then I'll be going to Rams-Lions. I've never been to 3 Rams games in a season. I've been to 2, never been to 3. So
Cali, okay. We'll have to connect at the tailgate or something when you come to
definitely,
SoFi.
Definitely, yeah. We'll be in touch for sure. But guys, hope you guys enjoyed. Tuna, this is great. I'm glad we were able to, shoot the shit and talk. We even threw in some Metal Gear Solid. Yeah, like we got the whole thing covered.
We stay here for a whole another hour. I've beat that game so many times.
Oh my god! When I was a little kid, and like my parents were so chill, I was literally beating Metal Gear Solid 3 when I was like 5.
Jeez.
Like I don't know. I remember everything. I remember the whole Snake Eater song, and oh yeah, it was wild. But I always loved that series. It's finally, we're getting a remaster, an actual remake, full scale. So that'll be fun. So anybody that's into that stuff, well, you're in luck for next week. And if we're the people breaking the news to you, you're welcome. But that's going to be it. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment, and be sure when you subscribe, you're also subscribing to First and Tuna podcast. I dropped the link in the description, in the comment section, in the chat. So be sure to hit my boy Tuna up with a sub. I don't know how many subs we got you this time, but hopefully over the course of the day, it'll continue to go up. I think you're at 505 now. And also, drop a W in the chat for Tuna getting to 500 subscribers, because that's a thing, man. You got to celebrate every milestone. My grandpa told me that, and I will never stop doing it. I don't care. It does not matter what milestone it is. It's all part of the journey, man. It's all part of the journey. So everyone, drop a W.
I always look at it this way. If you're ever concerned about, oh man, my thing only got 12 likes or 500 subscribers, imagine that many people in a room with you and how overwhelming that would feel, and it'll put things into perspective for you. But no, I appreciate the time, man. It was fun chatting with you, and yeah, thanks for the milestone shout out. And Rams fans, appreciate this season, because there are some special things happening. Like Matthew Stafford's going to will himself out there for you. So appreciate it. Yeah.
And we barely talked about Matthew Stafford's back, which I love, because I'm so over it, man. I'm so over it. But you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Tuna, appreciate you. And we'll see you guys soon.